Photographers are like marathon runners. They get tired sometimes. They sweat. They run away from their problems. They wear numbers at the race. Maybe, I don't know, man. Just leave me alone. I'll help you if you help me. Give me a break.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
First question. Hi, can I just ask you what you think about using a speed booster on a Fuji? I shoot manual, so I don't care about making autofocus worse, but I wonder on the rest. You could do it. There's some vintage Canon glass. I could imagine some magical 35 Mark I 21.4 L glass with Fuji color magic. You might have something there, but I think in general, you don't use autofocus, but it will be worse if you ever do use it. And the Stabe, I'm not convinced that adapted anything works, even if it's Canon adapted to Canon. It's like something gets lost in the signal. There's no sync Stabe. I don't know, why bother? Like, is the look that different? Just like get a plug-in of some sort, add a lens flare, and then, oh, it's so cinematic. Wow, I spent nothing to get this. Jealous much? Yeah. Not related, but which camera would you choose for weddings? Olympus or Fuji? I don't want to wear an 8-kilogram full-frame bag and dislocate my collarbone. You can't dislocate it, alright? It's just a snap or just solid. There's nothing, I don't know, the human anatomy. Full frame, not on your menu? If it was me shooting a wedding for some reason, I should be arrested. Nobody would ever ask me. I don't know why you're asking. I don't know, neither of those. Tiny sensor bullshit, unreliable autofocus of the Fuji, no dynamic range of the Olympus. Neither, man. Why do you do this? I would probably choose the Fuji just because I could manually focus and get a better image. But the Olympus, better Stabe, better autofocus. You might if you're running and gunning. Can't bring guns to a wedding. You're fired. Hi Casey, need your help. 2 cameras, 2 months. Get the A7 IV with the kit lens for $2,880. Sounds expensive. Or the A7C body alone for $1,630, and that leaves you $1,200 to get another lens. Both good deals, mainly for video, first full frame. My concern, can you even handle the 10-bit files of the A7 IV? If you're already concerned, the answer is no, you can't. Your little budget iMac 64, Commodore, I see it. I see it. Should I wait for a next release? Do you know something? Just say wait. I know nothing. If it's me, the A7C, like, that's irrelevant. It was irrelevant back when it first came out and we realized it was just an A7 III, which is good, but it's still 8-bit. It reminds me of Sony aps-c codecs, just 4K 30p 8-bit. Good luck getting footage like this in 8-bit. Yeah, for you wedding filmmakers, the LUT is coming. For me, like, don't get the kit lens ever. That's the worst lens on earth. You never get that. Get the body and a better lens. That thing belongs in the garbage. You'd have it on your shelf. Like, oh, that thing. Maybe I can sell it. Never get it in the first place. Save yourself the hassle. So I would go with A7 IV. Then you're good, but full frame? You think it's full frame? Not if you're 4K 60. You get an aps-c look. Oh, you got ripped off. And don't get some budget Samyang lens. You get a Sony lens, save up a little couple quarters. Piece of shit. I'm currently waging a war in my head between the potential of a Fuji XH2s and its video capabilities and the Panasonic S5. Hybrid yet video first cam. No, I'm not reading your jokes in the brackets, by the way. I moved on, and as has my audience. We're sick of you. Lens selection is mediocre, painful, L-mount, settings, anamorphic. Yeah, have fun with that. You're not Star Wars. Good best video Stabe, full frame, don't much about the Fuji side, spicy arguments, Fuji, case. I got your answer. Panasonic is never the answer to anything. You might have many questions in life. What should I do? Panasonic is never like, oh, Panasonic is the solution. Never. Autofocus. Stabe is nice. Pigskin colors. They fixed it on the GH6. Apparently, I haven't seen it. Could be worse. Pigskin to like caribou skin. I don't need that. In my opinion, Fuji X-T4 is better than the S5. So if you're debating the XH2, like in ballparks, you're not in the same one. You got another team playing, so Panasonic, no. But I get it, if you're manually focusing, it could be more stable, higher dynamic range, maybe? Could you really compete with F-Log 2? Doubts are erased. I corrected myself with a word that doesn't even exist. Let's just move on. Manual or autofocus for vlogging? Curious what you prefer? I like auto when I'm on location, but on location where? Everywhere you are is on location. Dick. But manual if I'm in the studio, sitting and talking. Manual focus is a prison. Good luck leaning back when you get tired from your bullshit jokes. It's fun. Like manual focus, it's nice. I use that Voigtlander sometimes, the 1.2, throw it on there, but it's a prison. I'm stuck there, and I'm often leaning, and then I'm completely out, and I look like a moron. If you can control the tone in your heart and just widen it a little bit, so you have a little bit of wiggle room, then okay, manual focus for me. I prefer autofocus all the time, but outside for vlogging, if I'm within hand's reach and I can really see that LCD screen, the peaking's obvious, it's like, okay. The Laowa 7.5mm, it's like, yep, I'm in. Cool, all right, let's go. I don't mind that, but I'd rather the camera just do it for me, and then I can film out there, and then back to me. Imagine that content. You wouldn't want to miss it. Fujifilm XS10 or Canon R7? Oh man, that is an actual conundrum. Oh man, there's points. I think R7 pretty much across the board would be better. I'm just not seeing the situation, because Fuji XS10 doesn't have the 4K 60p. They have 240 frames per second, so if you're going super slow on it, you have some edges, but I don't know, R7 will have the 4K 60p. It's a huge crop, but I'd have to see it for myself. From what I'm seeing, it's much softer than their oversampled 4K, but maybe it's because their oversampled 24p 4K is so mind-blowing that anything would look soft in comparison. It could be that. The stay would be much better on the R7, autofocus. Lenses are nice, they're big and heavy, expensive too. I don't know, I lean R7 for my uses. You didn't tell me what you're planning on doing with it. Probably shooting a donkey wedding. This guy, you weren't even invited. Your videos that you do are excellent. So the ones I don't do are bad? How would you know? The only ones that are unreleased are the ones on this stupid Canon R5C that won't give me the files. Even the MP4 file. I just made a video about XH2s versus the competition. That should be going up before this. I can't even get it off. I was thinking on getting a bigger sensor. I have a Panasonic GH5 Mark II. Was thinking of maybe Canon R7 or a Fuji. What would you suggest? I'm looking for excellent autofocus and great color. I feel the Panasonic wants in your heart for autofocus. They will never listen to you, so you might want to move on or just get better at manually focusing, because the GH5 Mark II, like, it's a really good camera. Like, it's hard to compete with it for the codecs and everything it does and the stabilization. It's just that stubborn autofocus that will never change. That hurts, but I would just stick with that. I wish I had one. I do. Not really, but if you were moving up, Sony A7 IV, but again, 4K 60 is not full frame, but autofocus, oh yeah. Oh yeah. R7, you could do it. You could do it. Would it be better than the GH5? Just in autofocus, that's about it. And stay might be comparable or better. Canon did some magic. Panasonic does not lead the industry anymore. They follow in Canon's shoes. They sniff the shoes first. Or the R6, if you don't mind shooting in the same mode all the time and never changing custom modes, because that doesn't happen. Real annoyance, but if you only shoot 4K 60, you're done. R6. Learned so much. Ha! I got a used Olympus EM1 Mark II per your advice, and it's awesome. Of course it was. My advice is never questioned anywhere. Except you're the vegan guy. Vegan heathen. This guy's been giving me shit on my other channel for not being vegan. You son of a bitch. Even when I bleed internally from the plant fibers, they're like, you should have tried it longer. I'll try your mom. Is there a wider lens to get a wider look than the 12mm vlogging with digital stave on? Or how long are that tripod nebula? Will that still work for you? This might have been asked before the Leica 9mm 1.7, but that would be your lens right there. I can't wait to test it. I'm feeling that it's going to replace two of my lenses, the Laowa 7.5mm and the Olympus 12mm. I'll compare it. If it's better, then boom, we sell both of those. I'm sorry, Flutter sent it. I didn't mean to sell your gifts, but I put it towards better stuff. Huh? Not that your gifts weren't good. It's not better, it's just different. That's pretty much the only option though for wide angle primes. Finally, it's been done. Leica, 3D pop. I'd do it. Hey Casey, thinking of picking up a sub $2,000 camera and lens setup for wildlife photography. I'll pretend you said video before I delete this. But I'm trying to keep the footprint small as possible while still having somewhat decent image quality. Obviously sacrifices will have to be made, yeah. At least you're being realistic, because these suggestions are bullshit. Olympus EM5 Mark III with the 75-300. That's about as budget as you could go. I suggest stepping up to the EM1 Mark III. If you could steal an OM1 from the Japanese sushi company that bought Olympus while they're eating sushi under the table, just a little sneak attack, you might be going to hell for your actions. I turned it around, Lord. Fuji XS10 with the 70-300. Super light, super slow-mo, no 4K 60, but 120 frames should look decent. 240. Not amazing, but it looked good. Super light and budget. Or Sony ZV-E10 with the 70-350. You might have something there. Just lens stable, it might be stable enough in the slow-mo. Punch in on it with that active stave, 45%. Probably ruin your life, but it might be stable. You get some reach. It's supposed to have animal eye detect, but I couldn't get mine to work. Bunch of bullshit. Oh my god, 2% battery life left. Oh, wow. Love your videos. When you say you would make it decide if you went full frame, what would that full frame be? I'm on the XT3 itching to get an A7 IV. Hoping this would be another similar situation. I'm not sold. I read that good. So he's talking about when the XH2 came out, XH2s, it was all hinging. Either this is my camera or I'm going full frame for wildlife. Now what is that full frame, you ask? There's options. Either just buy the Sony 200-600 for my A7S III and we move on. It's a good image. You pretty much can't beat it. 4K 120p, decent stave for following shit. Autofocus works sometimes in a zone. Archaic technology, decent. Or we try something like a Canon. I don't even know, man. I thought this could have been it with the 100-500. Just lens stave might be enough, but I don't like this at all. The cinema menu, there's no custom modes. You gotta tap and you can't even get the files off. Or the Nikon Z9 with that 800mm prime, or the 200-600. But like super expensive and overkill for my like Robin footage. What am I doing? I don't know. I went out the other day, mosquitoes everywhere, and my allergies started kicking in. I'm like, this sucks. I miss winter. I don't like wildlife in the summer. I give up completely. So I don't know. We'll start vlogging more because that sucked. Mosquitoes are attracted to me like dust on a rabbit. I need to pay my joke people better. They're starving. Still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a Tuna shirt in the shop or the affiliate link provided to you for any of these. Huh? 1%. Oh boy. I'll leave. At least I'll get the file. Oh man. And the battery life. Don't even get me started on that. I went through the menu, drained the whole battery, just going through the menu. It was like a half an hour. Oh my God. 0%. Just stop it. Subscribe.